always have a few moments with our panelists before we go live, and passed on that the first two panels of day one of the Centre Court MBA Festival have been fantastically energetic. So there is my challenge for the third session, keeping up this wonderful momentum and of course, keeping up the careers focus. We've already heard from some of the top European business schools earlier today, and now top US business schools. And it's a pleasure to welcome Brittany Tyree. Brittany is the Managing Director of Career Education and Coaching at Texas McCombs. Joining her, Linda Vo, who is the Senior Associate Director of Career Coaching and Leadership at UNC KenanFlagler. And starting his day early, as he always likes to do, Phil Hahn. Phil is the Assistant Dean and Director of Career Services at UCLA Anderson. So thank you, all three of us, for joining this session. We'd given the title, Where Can an MBA Take Your Career? And I guess if I'm in a crowd of UNC or Anderson or McCombs students, I'll get myriad answers of all of the great opportunities that they've explored. I thought we'd just begin a little with details about each school, just for viewers that are joining us from all over the world. And Brittany, perhaps we can start with McCombs. Tell us a little bit about Austin, such a dynamic city, and McCombs Place right in the heart of that.
Yes, happy to. So at McCombs, our general motto, and really the larger university, our general motto is what starts here really changes the world. And so this past year, our former dean, now president of the institution, Jay Hartzell, rolled out our 10-year strategic plan. And ultimately, this plan was set on us becoming the highest impact research institution in the world. And so when you take a look at our goals, you'll see that we've placed special emphasis on this place and people piece. And so I'll spend a little time today talking about those. So when it comes to the place, if you've ever been to Austin, you will know that this city is one of a kind. We have so many corporations year over year that are either launching offices, bringing their headquarters, or entrepreneurs wanting to launch their startups. And so it's really a city of opportunities. And how our career team has really leaned into this is we've really prioritized increasing our employer and our alumni connections, which then plays out to more job opportunities and more connections for our students. Now, another piece is our people. And so if you've ever set foot on campus, you will know that our environment is very welcoming and you feel a sense of community. And so we really lean into this concept of being people-centered, human-centered. And essentially what that means is people are at the core of everything we do. So we really prioritize that human connection and getting to know people at a deeper level so we can ultimately identify how we can be supportive and tackle life's challenges. I want to just quickly spotlight one of the initiatives we roll out this past year that really will help prospective students get a feel for our culture, and that is called Voices of McCombs. Essentially what we did is we partnered with this nonprofit company called StoryCorps, and we essentially tell the stories of our faculty, our students, our staff. We believe stories are the foundation of getting to know a person and understanding their perspective. And so because of that, everyone that comes to campus feels that support. They feel as if they're being heard and they have clarity around how they can be impactful. So really excited about the wonderful things that are in store for McCombs, but also really grateful to be a part of this team and this community.
So world-class research, people-centric, dynamic economy. But Brittany, I can't believe you didn't mention the ice cream. Amy's ice cream is the secret of the city. Now, an ambitious 10-year plan, perhaps, Linda, for some of your students, there's a 10-day plan or even a 10-month plan, let alone the 10-year plan. I know that we'll be talking more about the stepping stones and longer-term career opportunities for Kenan-Flagler students. But tell us a little bit about UNC and its own world-class qualities.
Sure, absolutely, can do. So UNC KenanFlagler is in a little town in North Carolina called Chapel Hill, if any of you are familiar. Here, our program is dedicated to building and inspiring leaders who make the world a better place. I know we have all of these ambitious goals, but that is core to what we do here, producing leaders that make the world a better place. With that shared vision and our core values of integrity, inclusion, innovation, and impact, these shape everything that our students do here while they're in their program and throughout their career. Two things I want to focus on today are how our program is focused on learning by doing, and as Brittany mentioned, our people, our community. So first, with learning by doing, here at KenanFlagler, our program focuses on experiential learning. There are so many opportunities to get your hands dirty and really solve real business problems. Our STAR program, which is Student Teams Achieving Results, is a consulting program that lasts a whole semester where our students engage with different employers and companies throughout the world to solve their real business problems. Along with the STAR program, we have a number of other different programs where students can get that hands-on experience through global programs as well. We have a number of global immersion programs and DBIs, which we call our Doing Business In. Switching gears to our community, our people here is why I've been at KenanFlagler for so long. Part of our culture is a culture of collaboration and teamwork. Our students here are ambitious, but never competitive. And they work together to rise up and raise the seas rather than thinking about, getting a job as a competition amongst themselves or with each other. We've got a great deep network of 44,000 highly engaged alumni that help our students as well succeed both in the program and in their career search. So it's a little bit about us.
It's a great place to start. And just where this sense of impact, a sense of purpose, I'm sure it'll come into our discussion of students and their subsequent career ambitions, but it seems to be so central to each of your institutions. Phil, obviously you love your work at UCLA Anderson, similar, very incredibly supportive, collaborative institution. Tell us a little bit more about Anderson.
Sure, of course. And thank you so much for inviting me to join this amazing panel, as well as a chance to reach all the listeners out there. And so thank you so much for that. I love to just, first of all, I think because all three of us are part of public institutions, I do think that is a very big part of each of our jobs in terms of all of our universities have a public mission. And I do believe that is an impact that, other institutions perhaps aren't able to make as significantly in terms of our connection to the community, connection to each of our individual states, cities that we're in. And I do think that that's a big part of the UCLA and, of course, the other universities that are here in terms of the effect that we have. Now, here at UCLA Anderson, we actually just recently publicized and launched the result of our strategic plan that has been going on for a little while. And the main theme is that we are here to develop transformative leaders. And what that means is that business leaders, of course, that we're all developing our students to be, but how does that become transformative in the organizations that they're part of, the communities that they're part of, and of course, globally in the world that they'll be affecting and impacting throughout their careers. So that transformative leadership perspective that we're bringing to our students definitely has both the right side and the left side of the brain in terms of the hard analytical skills, the knowledge, the industry savvy and understanding of how to run a business, as well as the other side of the brain in which you are leading, you are innovating, you are changing, and you are bringing emotional intelligence to the leadership that they're developing across the board. So all of the school, the curriculum, the different programs and ideas are really working to drive that to build transformative leaders amongst our students. And we're really thinking of those things as we work through their curriculum, work through the activities that they'll be part of. Many of our students take on student leadership, I'm sure as other schools, they're at other schools, and really build up that in different ways. And whether it be, understanding DEI issues and becoming intercultural, whether it be the skills that you build through classes like our leadership foundations and leadership classes that students take literally the moment that they arrive on campus. I think all are driving towards that. And some of the key mottos that we like to think of is we say, think fearlessly, drive change, and share success. And those are the three areas that we focus our students on. And then, of course, UCLA, Los Angeles is an amazing city, in both in terms of the sunshine that we get most of the year, and the warmth, of course. But of course, I don't want to just sell that, but really the amazing businesses that are here and amazing businesses that are centered here, I think really makes a big impact on the student experience as well. They can literally go down the street and visit our Silicon Beach and really work on startups that they get to connect with. They get to go downtown and work on some of the more traditional MBA industries, such as in finance and consulting overall. And then, of course, many of the big tech companies also have presence here, as well as healthcare companies across the board. So Los Angeles, I think, is also a very big part of the experience that our students get to have here at UCLA Anderson. And then from a career services side, one of the key focuses that we have is to try to get students to understand what kind of impact that they can make on their career journeys. So not only about getting that job, of course, which is important for all of us, but also what impact can you make through the work that you'll be doing going forward. And it doesn't just mean that you get to go find a job that is in a nonprofit or a sustainability type of job, but of course, that you can make that impact whichever role, whichever industry, whichever function that you may be a part of. And most recently, we did an internal conference called 80,000 Hours, which basically is sort of the approximate calculation of how much a person might work in their lifetime. Most MBAs probably work a little more than that, but the idea of 80,000 hours and the impact that they might make in their careers. And we have multiple speakers and alumni who's made impacts in their careers to come talk to our students. And we had a successful first inaugural event not just last week. So that's an example of how our office is not only working with individual students in their job search, but really hopefully giving them a mentality of how they choose their careers and what directions that they want to move towards as well. And that's some of the focus that we've been having as well.
Great. Well, when you first mentioned 80,000 hours, Phil, I thought it was that connection with Bill Gates. I think he thought that it was 10,000 hours to become an expert in something. I was thinking 80,000, I'm never going to get there. But no, wider context. And also this thread that you've connected, 3 world-class institutions that all share that public and deeply rooted in your communities. And obviously what that means for individuals coming from all over the world to your schools to then be able to enjoy that. Brittany, you were talking about the dynamism of the Austin economy and some of the big firms that are setting up there. How has that then sort of influenced the job market that McCombs graduates have been enjoying over the last 5 years? Are you seeing new faces, stronger aspects of particular industries?
Absolutely. So year over year, our students naturally tend to gravitate towards industries such as consulting, technology, and financial services. However, because our employer teams have really prioritized being in market and building those connections face to face with employers, we have seen more diversity in terms of the types of opportunities our students are leaning into, spanning industries, spanning functional areas. So when it comes to our class of 2023 outcomes, we actually just finished wrapping up our data collection efforts. And so unfortunately, I can't share our final stats just yet. We will be unveiling the final report in the coming weeks. But what I can share with you is that when we started seeing some shifts in the market this past year, we got our insights straight from our employer teams and shared it with our students so that they could lean in and be agile. One of the things that I think McCombs does a phenomenal job at is placing emphasis on having our students really build a strong career foundation that encompasses them learning more about themselves, but also being aware of what the market is sharing so they can identify where they fit in. And so it's very likely that our final report will ultimately share some diversity as it relates to the industries and student and functional areas our students are going into. That's my prediction, but only time will tell.
You realize if it was with my co-host, John Byrne, he would want the scoop. He'd want those figures today, but we will come back in a month or so. But it's great that you're sharing with them, with the students, to give them those sort of insights. Linda, in an earlier session, some of the European schools characterized this as a tougher job market than last year. There had been a lot of overhiring in the pandemic in the last couple of years. But that's also when the community is so important. I was thinking, if I came out of Kenan-Flagler with the sort of alumni network and support that you were describing earlier. So what have you seen for the class of 2023 and some of the emerging trends?
Yes, Matt, for the class of 2023, as Brittany mentioned, we are also just wrapping our final numbers and we'll be releasing them in the coming weeks. But needless to say, I think the economy and the current market right now is in kind of a squeeze. We're hearing not just from our class of 2023, but also some recent grads that it's a tough market out there. But as a career team, we are continually working with our students, even after they've graduated. We are working with them hand in hand. So we've got a team of 5 career coaches on the career and leadership team that support our full-time facing class. And we continue to work with our recent graduates to make sure that they still have us in their corner, right? Like, it's, even if it's a hard market, we're there to support them. There are a couple of things that we have done in this past summer, fall timeframe to help support our still seeking students of the class of 2023. Though most of them have placed, those that are still seeking, we circulate resume books. We publish on our LinkedIn networks to see if there are any opportunities, local or nationally, globally, that our alumni can help with to help get our class of 2023 or any of our alumni who have found themselves laid off to find places to land, places that they're excited to land, not just to land on their feet. But our network comes together. Us as a community of students, faculty, staff, and alumni all publish these resume books to help our students. We also circulate information about any events or conferences that are going on. If our school has any discounts for diversity conferences or the like that we can provide to some of our alumni, we do so. So those are just a couple of ways that we come together. We also have a dedicated alumni career coach that works with our alumni from Kenan-Flagler from the day they graduate until whenever they need another career search.
Right. There's an understandable focus, Phil, on that first job coming out of the MBA, but talk to the class of 2009 and looking 3-4 years later, the opportunities. So how do you frame any particular year, when it's really strong or when it's a little slower, as part of a bigger picture and just the longer career path that you're supporting your students with?
Sure, of course. And it's amazing to hear about the way Linda and Brittany have, worked on during this, we all agree, tougher job market, and that, support that we provide our students. And we do a lot of those types of programming as well. But interesting, Matt, that you mentioned about 2009 and, some of those types of questions. One of the things that we did around trying to get students a perspective, a little bit of a longer perspective, is we say 2 things. One, we like to say that the MBA is like 4 years, in a sense that 2 years you're in the classroom here on campus, and 2 years really at your first job. And that first job, the foundational job, really can make a big impact on the rest of that career. Doesn't mean that you don't stay at that first job. So we have many of our alumni that will have long tenures at their companies, but also students really can think of that first job as what gets them set off on a path that they can, of course, switch a few years down the line as well, but could be really foundational along those lines. So I do believe that that's one of the perspectives that we like to instill in our students. Another thing that we recently did was we did a study of our class of 2018 graduates. So that's like 5 years ago, and really did a little bit of a study on how many of those graduates are still in their first companies that they joined as they graduated. How many have moved on? How many have switched industries? How many have switched roles? And so on. And we created a little bit of a dashboard that students can look at that allows them to get a little bit of a sense of what industries tend to have alumni that'll stay for a long time? What industries promote change, promote different companies, and if they did switch industries, what are some trends that they've seen? So we try to provide that kind of information and data that students can go deeper into, that allows them to get a sense of what that is. And we piloted it with the 5-year ago graduates, but we're looking to try to expand that a little bit more, just to see, are there other trends that we can catch from other graduating classes? Maybe we go 10 years out and see what that looks like. Of course, there's a lot of data gathering to have to do that. However, we found it very useful to be able to have concrete information that can be broken down a little bit further to show students that that first job, it may not necessarily be your forever job. That ultimately that first job can be a chance for them to really establish themselves, get started in an area, and then move forward in that direction. So that's been another way recently that we've tried to get our first, this is for our first year students that we tried it out. And they all sort of nodded their heads and started to really get a realistic sense of what it meant to build a career once they graduated from school. So that also gives us a sense of the different ups and downs and ebbs and flows of what the economy might, how the economy might affect their job market, how it might affect them, and really show how to be resilient throughout their entire career. And I think that's another way that we've illustrated that to our students, is to use that data.
Right. And taking Phil's idea of building a career, Brittany, I mean, your own job title talks about career education and coaching. Often when we think about the MBA, we'll think about finance and accounting professors, organizational behavior and marketing professors. But I've always argued, and one of the key points of Centercourt was to bring you, Linda, Phil, Brittany, and all of your peers to much greater visibility. You're the magic source for me of the MBA. But tell us, what is involved in terms of that coaching and building a career?
Yes. So within career management in general, we are in the business of helping our students build career skills for life. And so ultimately, to Phil's point about looking at your career next step as just a stepping stone to a bigger picture of future possibilities. So from a coaching perspective, we really prioritize getting to know the student at their core level, understanding what are they motivated by, what are they skilled at, what are they interested in, and then using that to identify where they can strategically fit within the job market at hand. So for example, when we take a look at this class of 2023, historically, a lot of students that come to McCombs express interest in wanting to go into tech. But given the job market from this past year, so many of our students said, I want to go into product management. Tech may not be the space for me right now, but are there other industries where product management exists and I can continue to grow? And the short answer is yes, there's endless possibilities. And so that will also emerge in our final report. I'm giving you a little bit of a sneak peek, but that will also emerge is that our students, again, have embraced this open mindset of exploring new industries and functional spaces. Now, in terms of our approach, in terms of how we support students, we have a team of coaches, and we lean into this open advising model where students can meet with any of our coaches. But in addition, our coaches are aligned to specific industries and functions. So if a student comes in with clarity, knowing that they want to break into a specific area, they can receive very tailored and specific support and resources. I'll also add that, and this is probably consistent with all of our peer schools, we have students coming in who are in different phases of their career journeys. Some may be in a phase of wanting to pivot. Some may be in a phase of wanting to explore. Some may also be in a phase of wanting to explore entrepreneurship or elevate in their careers. We call them enhancers. No matter where or what phase they're in, we're able to provide them with that tailored coaching and resources to help them get to step 2 of their journey. So we do prioritize gaining more information around what is their focus, and then how can we help guide them throughout their 2-year MBA experience.
This idea of tailoring, Linda, I see you nodding, because what you're offering is so deeply personal to each individual. There might be characteristics for the consulting industry, for financial services, but perhaps picking up on what Brittany shared, I mean, there's a lot of one-on-one to really get to the heart of an individual, their skill sets, their motivations.
Yes, absolutely. And I 100% agree with everything that Brittany said. And similar to how McCombs is structured, we too have an open coaching model. So I mentioned we've got 5 career coaches on the team. We all have different specialties based on, you know, where we've worked in the past or who we've worked with in the past in the program. But I think let's take a step back really quickly in terms of our programming. We as coaches do one-on-one coaching, yes, but we also have large-scale programming for our students. So at the start of the program, our students in orientation received this past year over 15 hours of foundational career content to make sure that everybody starts on the same footing, knowing exactly what our career search model is of know yourself, know the market, market yourself, thinking through all of those pieces, getting some practice time in so everyone starts with some sort of career programming. From there, we work with the student again, one-on-one to understand where they're coming from, focusing first on that know yourself portion to make sure that they are able to explore all of the MBA opportunities there are to offer here when they start in the program. I know a number of students will, like Brittany said, be dead set on something. They know exactly what they want to do, but we also have a number of explorers that come to the program that don't have a concrete idea, and then many people that are in between. So helping the students think about all of the opportunities to be able to explore. As a coach, our primary goal is to ask the right questions to uncover those answers for the students themselves. So we have a number of different tools that we utilize here. As coaches, we offer assessments like Career Leader and Berkman to help students uncover, and we'll debrief those assessments with our students as well, and then work with them to set actionable plans so that they can brainstorm and actually track their progress along the way.
Yeah. I'm always thinking, Phil, in terms of the cycles, you know, here's the class of 2023 and the support you're providing. And now there's the incoming group, and maybe you're already thinking about summer internships for next year. That first year, preparing them for an internship, all of the support you provide. So I'd love you to talk us through the role that an internship can play, but also when they come back from the internship, do you see a change?
I think I'm nodding heads and smiles amongst my colleagues here. Definitely, we do see that change. So internship is that first taste of the industries or functions that students come in and wanting to get into. I think one of the things that is the benefit of a larger city that we're part of is that several of our students will also do part-time internships during their time here because there is a company down the street that might be interested in hiring an MBA for 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week to help with financial planning or help with marketing plan or something like that. So many of our students do get a chance. We tell them not to do it in the fall quarter of their first year because it's such a hectic time, but many of them do get a chance to do that during the school year a little bit as well. Now, summer internship is really that big time that they get to spend 10, 12 weeks at a company full time to get the full experience. And I do think that that is a very big formative time to really either affirm that this is the industry and a function that they want to go into. But then every once in a while, I actually say that there's more students who come back with, a pretty good idea that this is what they want, but they still have other questions about it. So usually they fall into the category of, I didn't like my internship at all. I didn't like the company, industry, people, nothing. So I'm going to completely switch my direction for my second year. And then there's those that come back loving every single minute of it. All of us, our career advisors, will do a midsummer check-in with all of our summer interns, and we make calls and all of that. And a good number of them, some of them are really sort of like, working hard, pushing through, but they start to get a sense of, you know what, this is a type of organization that I want to be a part of. I love my manager. I'm learning a lot. I'm really enjoying it. And then there's others who are starting to have doubts. But then others who turn it around as well. Like there's a couple students that I talked to over the summer that weren't quite sure if that was it. But then when they came back this fall, they're like, I actually turned around and I love it now. So a lot of experiences can happen during the summer that either really confirms that that's the direction that they want to go to, or come back realizing that they need to switch it up a little bit. Maybe it's the type of company, the size of company. Maybe it's the products that they were working with or the function that they were doing, that maybe it's not exactly it, but I need to shift a little bit along those lines. So what we want to do as advisors with our second year students who come back is to really have that discussion and really meet with each one of them to talk about what their summer looked like. If they're going back to the same company, great, we want to support you in that. But if they do want to recruit again, if they want to explore a few other things or change directions, we're definitely here to work with them along those lines. All of our students are assigned to one of our advisors, and that advisor will have a good sense of what that student's experience during the summer was, what direction they might want to go. And if the second year does require extensive recruiting process again, that we will work with them through that process. And during the second year, recruiting tends to be a little bit more customized because a lot of them are looking for that unique job, and we will work with students to achieve that and move forward in that direction as well. So yes, summer internship, lots of decision making, lots of learning, and students will come back with entire spectrum of either I loved it, everything, and then I need to switch out. And we, I'm sure all of us works with those students to support that decision going forward as well.
Our viewers, Brittany, at Centre Court, you only get to do the MBA once. You are offering lifetime support as a member of the communities of your different schools. But it is this distinct moment in early stages of your career to kind of step back, think about what you really want, the things that you're passionate about. So, when individuals sort of say, I want this job title, I want this job, Linda was talking earlier about the explorers. How do you encourage them, using perhaps also discussions they're having with classmates, with alums, to be open to different opportunities? How does that unfold?
Yes, happy to elaborate. So at McCombs, we tend to use this analogy that the MBA experience is really like a test kitchen, and that there's going to be quite a bit of ingredients as you think about what you want to build. And so for a lot of our MBAs, we encourage them to really immerse themselves, get to know each other, get to know faculty and staff, get to know our centers, but also really lean into the resources that is made available to them. So I'll give you a specific example. When it comes to our class size, we personally think is the perfect size. We have about 200 plus students. And so students are given an opportunity to work in groups for majority of classes, and they can learn from each other. But then in addition, they also are given opportunities to be a part of student organizations and think about the impact they want to have at McCombs. We always say students want to come here and leave it better than when they started the program. And so again, when we think about our students and them getting clarity about their next steps, that clarity comes from taking risk and really immersing yourself in all of the resources that exist. And so I'm so thrilled that every year we have students who come in with an open mind and are really curious and excited to dive in.
Yeah, well, you had my heart as soon as you made the analogy to food and recipes and, exploring ideas in the kitchen. I suppose, Linda, things do continue to shift. When we were hosting Centre Court 12 months ago, October 2022, yeah, we were talking about big data and analytics, climate tech and other things, but AI was kind of whispered. Nobody mentioned ChatGPT. And yet here we are, 12 months later. So thinking about, again, longer term planning for industries and just business in the world that continues to evolve, how do you get them to think about AI when Goldman Sachs produces a report about its impact and take that on board? And maybe just the longer term agility and adaptability that they'll need.
Absolutely, happy to touch on that. So AI is definitely a hot topic in everything that we're doing now, from our curriculum in the classroom to our curriculum and career. And it absolutely will impact the career for our graduates in the upcoming years. Something that we think about that we can think about in terms of AI, I think right now, AI in its current stages is pretty generic. The things that it can do is impressive, but a human being can do so much more. And as graduates of MBA programs, our students are expected to lead people. And there's so much human side in everything that an MBA graduate is expected to do that an AI program can't necessarily do. I think we can leverage AI to make our business easier, to help us write and to help us create ideas. But when it comes to managing people, the expectations of people, connecting people and collaborating, that is where our students excel. That is what our programs are meant to do, to help them build some of these soft skills, to help them excel as business leaders. And if we continue to focus on those soft skills and raising our students up to be humanistic leaders, that will set them up for success in the future.
Right. And staying with those soft skills, Phil, when we talk about interviewing skills, networking skills, having executive presence, how do you and your teams also work on those elements of the personal development that will have such impact in their professional lives?
Yeah, of course. Soft skills, hard skills. I mean, those are, terms that we throw around all the time, but it really is relationship building that we believe is one of the most important ways that our students can develop during their time. So both in terms of career, in terms of careers with our office, we of course build into our curriculum how students is not just about how great your resume looks. It's not just about how to write your cover letter or send out that one email, but it's really how do you make sure that you are having the right type of interactions, that you are able to communicate your value effectively to your potential employers. We're doing a workshop in a few hours actually with some of our students in which it's a mock networking workshop where students get to sort of practice networking with us pretending to be companies. So they get to actually, we get to play a role, and students get to sort of feel like what it's like to be in that maybe that awkward networking, circle that they stand around in, and to try to ask the right questions and do that quick 30-second pitch in an effective way. So in a practical way, our career office definitely focuses on some of those key pieces. Now, from a big picture perspective, as I mentioned about our school with our goal of developing transformative leaders, is that we definitely understand that the soft skills of being able to innovate, being able to really lead with emotional intelligence and really drive for a goal and make an impact are the types of things that every part of our curriculum is going to be building towards as well, both starting with the core classes that all of our students take, all the way to the various different electives that are going to be available. A lot of our electives have a lot of guest speakers coming to speak to them. These are industry leaders that have and were able to become successful in their leadership of their organizations. And the benefit of those people being local makes those guest speakers effective in a lot of our classes, so that they get to actually see for real that these leaders aren't just analytical robots that know exactly what to do in a business situation, but are humans that truly have to make tough decisions, that have to understand how to motivate people, understand how to lead and guide their team, their companies. So that is also built into many of our electives that our professors are able to bring to our students, and those are often our favorite classes of the students. They talk about this the speakers that they got to meet and work with. So I think those are some of the key ways that that part of the soft skills and emotional intelligence is built along those lines. And then the last quick thing, funny thing that I wanted to talk about is that about 80 of our second year students are coaches that we bring on, volunteer coaches to work with our first year students. And we recently had training with those coaches so that they know how to work with the first years. And we told them to use a Post-it note and write a quality about a great leader that you met before. So they wrote it down, and then we had two walls. One was IQ, the other one was EQ. Put your Post-it on which side that leader showcase their leadership. And during that training, I would say 98% of the Post-its were on the EQ side. So that showed that being a leader, whether it's a small group that they're leading here at school, or of course, ultimately becoming a leader in the business world, EQ is going to be one of the key ways that they're going to be successful in that sense. And it was we thought it would be like, I don't know, 80-20, 70-30, but it was like 98-2, something like that, which surprised us, but also not surprised us. So and students were able to sort of see that as they were becoming second-year leaders, and that's going to be guiding first years during their time as well.
And with the sort of mentoring that Phil is describing, Brittany, between first year and second year students, or students and alumni 5 years out, the alumni network and the opportunities that brings to get to better know industry. Talk us through alumni and how they really make a difference.
Yes. So if you've ever been on UT's campus and have interacted with an alum, you would know that they bleed orange. They are very, very proud. I want to actually share a quick story. I went to National Black MBA Conference in Philadelphia about 2 weeks ago, or it might have been a couple weeks ago. And we took a couple of first and second year students who were really excited about having some conversations with an array of employers. And I remember I set up my booth, and throughout the entire time I was at that conference, I had so many alums who came by and said, "Do you remember me, Brittany? I graduated back in X year. It's so good to see you. Please tell your students to come by our booth." They were very proud, and you could tell they missed being back on campus. I share that story because a lot of our alum have such a positive experience at UT and within the McCombs School of Business that when they graduate, they want to stay connected and they want to give back. And so how they do that typically is, through job opportunities, but also through their time and through mentorship. And so this past year, we rolled out a new community called McCombs Connect. It's a virtual community that's open to current students, faculty, staff, and alumni. And really, it's a space, again, for dialogue, resource sharing, best practice sharing, but also a place for mentorship. And so for our MBA, full-time MBA population specifically, we just recently rolled out our mentorship program for our first years and our second years to connect with alumni and get really tailored advice as they think about their next steps and how to maximize their experience in the MBA program. So again, our alumni are so proud and they're eager to stay connected and really give their time. And it's beautiful to see.
After the webinar, you'll have to share how you get a Texas Longhorn through airport security and on board that airplane to Philadelphia. But they travel with you. Linda, perhaps a word about the Kenan-Flagler community. It's something that you emphasized right from the start, but also from things that you were saying, how you continue to support them. Not only are they providing support for the graduating classes, but you're continuing to stay connected with them for those subsequent steps of their career.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to touch on that. So as both Phil and Brittany mentioned, our community here is so close-knit. The second years supporting the first years, the alumni supporting all of our students, and our team of coaches supporting our current students as well as the alumni. From an alumni support perspective, we have a dedicated alumni website with career resources that can be referenced asynchronously at any point in time. We also have live programming and one-on-one coaching support through a dedicated coach. And of course, if there's any alumni that I have worked with or any of the coaches have worked with, if they reach out to us, we will never say no to supporting our alumni. We love seeing and hearing from our alumni and supporting in any way we can. Through our program, our students have lifetime access to our career portal. They can sign in, see all of our upcoming events that they can register for. We have events from LinkedIn to how to utilize AI in your career search. We also have networking events that we will host for our working professional students and alumni network together. And our students can navigate job postings through our career portal as well. So that's just a sampling of some of the things that we do to keep connected with our alumni. And of course, when we're on the road going to career tracks, those are top of mind right now because they're coming up in a couple weeks. But when we go to career tracks and visit different cities, we encourage our alumni to come see us. We go to their offices, of course, and then after the day's over, we try to host happy hours in those cities so that they get a chance to connect as alumni together and with our current students and staff.
Now, to round this off, Phil, I'm going to hand you the crystal ball and reflect on the viewers at Centre Court, whether they're watching this live with us or they're following us on YouTube. There tend to be tens of thousands of views in the weeks that follow. Perhaps some of them are looking to apply, put in a round 2 application. They're thinking about the job market, I guess, of the summer of, what would it be, 2026? So as one of our viewers has written and said, what do you think might be the industry's functions that will be growing in the coming years? Now, whether you can share where you feel there might be economic growth or even just the underlying principles and factors of how that class of 2026 is going to emerge with great opportunities.
Yeah, of course. Wow, 2026.
That seems a lifetime away, right?
Yeah, that number itself sort of stopped me in my tracks for a sec there. But of course, as we all know, the economy, none of us can truly predict the economy. I mean, the world's most brilliant minds often, don't get it right exactly. So it would be presumptuous for me to say this is what's going to happen. But we do know that, over the years, it is a cycle. There are the ups and then there are the downs, and there are the growth periods and tougher periods overall. And the fact that we are experiencing a little bit of a down market right now, we could expect that, by 2025, 2026, that there will be perhaps, an up market or recovery over the next few years, leading up to a better market in a couple of years perspective. And that just purely comes from having been in this industry for a while and seeing the ups and downs, that the downs don't last forever, the ups don't also last forever. So therefore, it's a educated guess from my experience along those lines. Now, in terms of roles and industries, I do think that for a lot of what we do and within the business world, and this was mentioned multiple times, that technology is going to make a very big impact. Now, I think the difference might be isn't just about which technology companies are coming up and are going to, become the next, global leader, but it's how technology is going to continue to influence all the other industries. We've already seen that happen across different industries, some more than others already. And I know in terms of financial technologies, entertainment and media, healthcare. So that will only continue to accelerate. So yes, there will probably be a technology industry sort of standalone category that we can always think about. But I also believe that the areas that our business students can really learn about, take advantage of, and really become leaders, future leaders, will be how does technology affect the industries that they're interested in, and whether it be consumer packaged goods or oil and gas or clean tech or financial services and so on. If it's consulting, how do you consult companies to make that change or continue to grow and take advantage of the technologies that are going to be affecting their industries, are going to be the way that all of us will have to adjust. Even our own jobs, right? Here, Alinda and Brittany, there are so many technology tools that we're probably all utilizing and getting. So even in that sense, we're going to see that. So I do think that that's going to be where a lot of our MBAs will be able to take advantage of and build their careers into in terms of becoming leaders of tomorrow, is how does technology affect the various different parts of the world, various different parts of the business landscape. And those that can see that, take advantage of it, push that forward, I think will be successful at becoming business leaders. And that's the mentality that I think all of us will need to ensure in our students, so that they don't get surprised by it and that they can continue to grow within it.
Well, I set all three of you a challenge, talking about the energy of the opening panels of the day. I don't think you just met that panel. I think you raised the bar. So, of course, the next panel that John will be picking up with in about 10 minutes, which will involve alumni from each of your institutions. All our viewers, don't miss that, because I think when you start to understand the level of commitment, this deeply personal support that goes into the work of the teams of Linda, Brittany, Phil, as I've said many times, I think it really is the magic source of the MBA experience. Certainly what so many graduates tell me that they remember from the MBA. So to make that so memorable, I turn to the three of you. Thank you for a wonderful session. Thank you for joining us at Centre Court. Brittany, Linda, Phil, it was great to have you with us.